Before we get started in today's video, viewer discretion is advised. If you do not like to see damaged air guns, now's your chance to turn off the video. You've been warned. Now, this Bullpup Challenger shipped UPS, and initially when I opened up the box, I didn't even see anything wrong. Now, the receiver was separated from the stock, and when I took out the receiver, I heard parts hit the ground. And I'm just thinking maybe it was just like a loose bolt or something that fell off, but unfortunately, that was not the case. The first thing I noticed was that this charging handle, the handle portion of the side lever was sheared straight off. The good thing about this handle, though, is the piece that actually sheared off, this, I believe, screws right into the side lever. This piece is fine, it's just like a little cover for the handle. But if I can get a replacement handle, if I drill out the remainder of the handle, I should be able to get that out of the side lever. If I get a replacement, that should thread right back in if I'm correct. I'm pretty sure that threads right in there, though. Now, initially, all I noticed was the handle and the side lever was broken. Honestly, I can't even understand how that broke off, because this sits pretty flush with the gun, and the buttstock isn't attached in the box, so this is pretty flush in there. I'm just not sure how something came in contact with this handle and sheared it off. That's kind of a surprise to me. Now, the additional damage that I noticed, that's not as hard to figure out how it happened. The Picatinny rail got smashed and nearly bent into the shroud on the barrel. Now, that impact here, I can definitely understand how that's possible. The handle on the side lever, I'm not really sure how that happened. Now, that rail is bent pretty significantly. Looking at these Allen screws, it looks like you can just remove this piece right off and it should separate. If I can drill out the remainder of that handle, get a new rail, replacement parts for that, this thing should be back in business. Thankfully, those parts look like they're easily replaceable. I'm assuming that's the case. I'm not 100% familiar with this gun, but it looks like those pieces come right off. Hopefully that's an easy fix. Now, one thing I wanted to do is I want to replicate the damage on this. I'm kind of curious how much force was required to bend this rail that badly. So I wanted to take one of my aftermarket Picatinny rails. The overhang on this is about the exact same length as the one on the Challenger Bullpup. What I want to do is try and replicate and see how much force it would take to bend this as bad as that is right now. Because I think there's a ton of force required to do that. And I understand the gun's pretty heavy, so if this thing got dropped, that's a good amount of force being put on it. But it just seems so severe. I'm thinking that the drop had to have been very significant. This thing's getting close to, it's got to be around 10 pounds. So a pretty significant drop, I can see that happening. But that rail seems really heavy duty. I just want to go over real quick. Let's go through the process of what I want to do with this and just see what happens. First things first, we have my trusty 2x4. Now, I have the dovetail to Picatinny adapter, and I'm going to be using this. This comes with a hole pre-drilled in here. So I took out the screw that was in there, and then we're going to take a drywall screw and mount this to the 2x4. We're going to take my aftermarket Picatinny rail and mount it to the adapter. We're going to take a sledgehammer, bring this 2x4 over to my trusty vise and work table, and we're just going to smash the rail and see how much force it takes to bend this thing. I'll meet you over there. Here we are. We've made it to my trusty table of experiments. We got the 2x4 with the Picatinny rails mounted. Let's smash the crap out of this thing. Let's go ahead and get this mounted in the vise first. Now, I know I could do this a little bit better. I don't have this mounted to the table directly. I'm trying to reduce as much of the absorption from the impact as possible. So, I have a decently sturdy table, and the vise should help. I'm going to hold it down just so the impact doesn't get absorbed. I want it all to be into this rail. So, let's go soft. I'm not going to go crazy. I got my little mini sledgehammer. Let's just do like one impact. Nothing crazy. Okay, that bent pretty decently. That was a solid hit, but nothing crazy. Let's do one more. Okay, so I just completely sheared that off. Now, this is pretty much what I was expecting to happen on the rail in that Challenger. I'm surprised that one bent and didn't shear off, but I think this one's a little thinner, so maybe the thickness helped it bend rather than break. It's just the thing that gets me is the angle that that package had to have fallen where it hits the rail, and I didn't see any other damage on the gun, no dents, dings. It had to have just directly nailed that rail to bend it like that. So maybe it was like a 5-foot drop or something fell on it, but the box itself didn't even look like it had that much of an impact on it. If I can get another rail sent out, that would be great. Because if I can replicate the same thing with the rail that's on that Challenger, assuming they have replacement parts available, because I need one anyway to swap over the damaged one. I might ask if they have a replacement to send one more. I want to retry this with the exact same rail and just see what happens. And then maybe, instead of using a sledgehammer, maybe that was too much for it. If I beat it with a 2x4 or something, maybe that'll bend it rather than shear it. But it would be kind of cool to see the difference between a sledgehammer on that and like a softer object like a 2x4 smacking it. That's it for today. Kind of a bummer that I didn't get to use a Challenger yet. That's just going to have to either get sent out or have replacement parts sent in. So that's going to be up in the air for when I'm going to review that. The weather is absolutely horrible. Windstorms, ice storms, snow, just nonstop back to back to back. It's just impossible to really do anything outside. We have like that much ice over the snow. I can't even get my tripod legs into the ground. The wind is just going to go send that sailing. Unfortunately, I guess I could kind of do this in the basement, but I'd rather have an outdoor video for, you know, the AE8 Challenger or some of the bigger guns. But for the time being, I'm going to be doing some little different videos here and there and go from there. All right? See ya.